Just so out of it. Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Councilor Husband?
Councilor Husband is excused this evening for family business.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
Mayor?
Here.
Council President Starr?
Here.
Councilor Dran?
Here.
Councilor Cross?
Here.
Thank you very much. If you are able, I invite you to rise and all join us with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. It is now my pleasure to begin this meeting with special orders of business, and we will start with our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer Pride Month, and we have two members of our Community Diversity Engagement Committee here to speak to us about this celebration, and then I will read the proclamation. So I believe we have Benita Picasso and Nevaeh Music here. So if you want to come up to the microphone, and thank you so much for being here to share with us tonight.
Of course. For the record, I am Nevaeh Music, and I am a resident of Keizer.
I'm Benita Picasso, and I'm also a resident of Keizer.
As you are all well aware, I am here today in honor of Pride Month. I am sure for the council at least, my last speech is well remembered, although perhaps not well heeded. I have resided in Keizer for 7, almost 8 years now. And the first year I moved here, I can remember seeing our sign and the words printed on it, pride, spirit, and volunteerism. Perhaps I was a dumb kid, but I always assumed pride meant like gay pride. I know better now, but back then it was a symbol of acceptance and safety for me. Later on in sophomore year, I would join Keizer Community Diversity and Engagement Committee, and we would have another member who had at the time been planning to have a pride parade here in Keizer, which rather unfortunately got canceled due to events that happened at Volcano Stadium and the organization feeling as though not only there would be aggressive protesters, but that perhaps the Keizer Police Department would not have their back committedly. And I'm curious what that says about us, that diversity does not find itself safe enough to be fostered here within our city limits. I was disappointed then, and I am still disappointed now. Harvey Milk once said, "It takes no compromising to give people their rights. It takes no money to respect the individual. It takes no survey to remove repressions." Yet I feel as a community, we are regressing still. With attempts to remove controversial books from employee bookshelves and the ongoing lack of such basic, I would say, outward support of pride flags or symbols to show our support past this one proclamation once a year. I love Keizer, and I believe firmly we can do better with supporting our LGBTQ citizens. But when you only acknowledge them once a year with, for some, what is a hollow gesture, you are lacking the true warmth they deserve. Being gay is not a political affiliation, and I hope that none of you think that supporting the LGBTQ community is part of your political affiliation. As always, I want to thank you for your time, your listening, your patience, and your continued support of me and all of Keizer.
Thank you. Ms. Picasso?
I'm just here as a support. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you. I appreciate both of you being here and both of you, your work on the Community Diversity Engagement Committee, and especially Ms. Music. When we started the committee, I was given the opportunity to select the youth member, voting member of the committee, and interviewed two amazing students and selected Ms. Music to be our youth member to the committee, and I am ever so glad that I did. You've worked really hard on behalf of diversity in our community, and I understand you are graduating this year. So I'm going to divert a little bit. I don't want to take away from what you just said, which is very powerful and needs to be heeded and listened to every day. But if it's all right with you, may I divert a little bit and talk about what you're going to be doing over the next several months as you graduate?
Yes, of course.
Microphone.
Yes, of course.
And what would that be?
Currently, I'm working on a project to revamp the Keizer skate park with hopes to paint over with murals and arts to distract away from graffiti artists in hopes that will kind of divert their attention a little. And then we're hoping to host events there to help foster community within that and to then, I hate keep using the same word, but to divert the events into our committee and council meetings. So if we host them on the same nights, we could be like, hey, you want a cold drink of water and a place to sit after skating for hours? Come to this community meeting, engage with your community, say what you say. I think as a whole, that community loves engaging, and if we just showed them a place, they would be more than welcome to come here, and they would give their voices. I mean, the people I've worked with are amazing and so sweet. And then I also believe it would help a lot with the current drug problems we have going on within our school. There's a lot of teens turning to, well, obviously drugs and just other nasty forms of, like, amusement. And I feel like if we gave them something else to focus on and we supervised the events, we could help our community a lot.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate the work toward that. And we'll look forward to working with you for the event, the art, and also the engagement with our youth and our young adults in our community. Thank you so much. Questions or comments for Ms. Music or Ms. Picasso? So with that, I do ask your indulgence, and I will read the proclamation for this month and ask you to receive it. We know it is words, and it's words we continue to strive to live by. Whereas our nation was founded on the principle of equal rights for all people and continues to strive for this ideal. And whereas the historical riot at Stonewall in New York City on June 28, 1969, is considered a turning point for LGBTQ liberation in the United States. And whereas for more than 50 years, June has been celebrated nationwide as Pride Month in honor of the citizens who rose up and fought at Stonewall against discriminatory laws. And whereas everyone should be able to live without fear of prejudice, discrimination, violence, or aggression, including actions based on race, ethnicity, religion, class, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, mental or physical disability. Whereas June has become a nationally recognized month to celebrate and honor community members who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer, inquiring, asexual, two-spirit, plus. And whereas the City of Keizer strives to treat all people with dignity and respect and recognizes that our diverse LGBTQIA2+ community includes people of all races, ethnicities, religions, and professions who all deserve to live in peace. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim June 2024 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month, and encourage all the people of Keizer to celebrate and embrace the rich diversity that our LGBTQIA2+ community members bring to our economy, arts, culture, and society. I would like to present a copy to you, and one will be on display here. It is now my pleasure to recognize our youth counselor for this past school year, who is graduating this Saturday, when's graduation? Friday night from McNary High School. Grayton Woodard has done a fantastic job as our youth counselor for this year. It's a program that we started many years ago to offer opportunities for high school students to participate in city council meetings and processes. But quite frankly, we've been the ones who have benefited from having youth members of our city council. With that, I would like to invite up Grayton to, if he has anything to share, and then I've got a proclamation and a small gift to wish you well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, it's kind of been a journey throughout the school year, but really something that I really took away from this is, how much I was able to learn and, just take it as a learning opportunity, and really what I've thought, a citizen's duty is. And that's really transformed, that idea has been transformed for me throughout my time here. The importance of local government, the importance of being involved in your community, and everyone being here today is just it's great. It's what makes our country, our city, our state what it is. And just everyone involved here, it's just a great experience. And it's kind of putting it into perspective, me having the opportunity to be here, how everything, has kind of come to fruition, how, we as a city are able to successfully, do our progress, and how we're able to, just succeed as a city and work together. And it's really, taught me a lot about working together, and how, I've seen everyone has their differences on here, especially when it comes to different, different emotions that you're passing or whatnot, but just seeing seeing the council able to, pass things and work in a civil manner and be able to just work together, for the betterment of Keizer, because everyone has a different idea of what that is, bettering Keizer, but I just think it's really great that everyone is striving to better Keizer. But, yeah.
So may I ask, what are you going to be doing after graduation?
So in the fall next year, I'm going to be going to the University of Washington or political science for now, but I guess we'll see where life takes me. I don't know.
All right. Well, I'd like to read this and then present you with a couple of gifts from the City Council and from our executive leadership team. Whereas the office of Youth City Councilor is an act of volunteer service, and whereas each school year, one Youth City Councilor is recommended by the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and appointed by the Keizer City Council as a non-voting member of the council. And whereas the office of Youth City Councilor was created in order to engage youth voice in the work of the City of Keizer and to communicate the importance of local civic engagement to the youth of our community. And whereas the office of Youth City Councilor requires a commitment and dedication to being present and involved while also maintaining a high level of academic and community activity and performance. And whereas the people of Keizer want to thank and honor those who have served in the office of Youth City Councilor, now therefore I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim that Grayton Woodard has faithfully served the people of the City of Keizer and did carry out the duties for which he was duly appointed. Youth City Councilor from September 2023 to June 2024. And further proclaim our sincere thanks and appreciation on behalf of the people of the City of Keizer to Youth Councilor Grayton Woodard for his dedicated service. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Make the circuit here with everybody, and then we'll make some. I'd like to present you with this is a gift from our executive leadership team. Has a water bottle, so you always remember where the good water is. All right. And then this is from the Keizer City Council, and we're so happy to have you here. And we can make 2 copies of the proclamation so the parents may want to have them. Sunshine, we're keeping sunshine. All right, great work, everybody.
I wrote a note right here for this one. Yes.
All right. What a great way to start the evening. Okay, let's go now to committee reports, and I'm going to start off with David Dempster for Traffic Safety Bike Ped.
I think you all have access to the minutes. Our meetings have become much longer lately because we usually start out with public comments. In the last 4 or 5 months, we have had lots of public comments. Usually issues people bring up about, majority of them are about speed or dangerous conditions in Keizer. Lots of them about River Road and other places. We had a meeting with the traffic engineers a month before about what you can do, what the engineers do when you ask for something like changing the speed limit from 35 to 30 or 40 to whatever. What you have to go through and what's all involved in it. We had a bike training event for kids at Keizer Elementary. We hit the worst weather day
Pretty
you
much.
can pick, which reduced our turnout. It was a really well-organized event, except we didn't have enough kids. So we had people that are repairing bicycles. We had helmets, vests. We had laid out under cover a full route they had to go through, learning all the hand signals, all the laws, rules, and so on. We have several issues. In our minutes, page 7, 8, 9, I think maybe 4 pages, we have a rather large spreadsheet that shows the issues we're dealing with on a regular basis, which keep coming up. And those are also show which ones we've done with, and whose table is it on now after ours. So the one, just to mention, if you haven't read it, we're still looking at people making comments about Verda from Chamawa to the Parkway, the work that's being done this summer, and there's still issues regarding Dearborn to the traffic circle. If you've been up there, you know what the problems are. But the Wheatland Road project was on the old Keizer traffic plan, and we don't really know exactly where it is right now. We're looking at it. So that needs to come up. That was a long time ago. There's been several issues about River Road at Chamawa, River Road at Lock Haven for bicycle lanes. And the confusion and the issues, and those are the 2 primary places. The Windsor Island Road project, our planning is being done by the county, which will impact this greatly for Windsor Island Road and Lock Haven, at least. Plus, there's a bunch of long-range things. Keizer Road, which runs from Verda east up towards the baseball field. Most of you are familiar with that. Ridge Road is what it runs across through the baseball field. There's a pile of problems that the road's too narrow, there's no bike lanes, there's no sidewalks, heavy parking all over the place, whereas I've been up there in the summer where it's down to one lane, and that lane has got people walking in it, and people driving too fast because they're late for a game somewhere. There's also an issue about ADA pedestrian access to the baseball fields, that somebody's grandma couldn't get to see her grandson playing. There's no way to get from the parking lot in a wheelchair easily, outside of picking up and carrying it out to some of the fields. And those issues have been brought up. So the page 7, 8, 9, 10 in our minutes, we're looking at least keep track of, we change it every month on what the status of the art thing, whatever we're doing is. Under 5 minutes.
All right.
Any questions?
Before we go to additional questions, Wheatland, we have an adopted design. I'm looking at Mr. Lawyer.
We have an adopted concept plan. We do
Okay.
not have a design yet.
I'm going to keep pushing, but yes, we do.
We are pushing,
did the
we are
study.
pushing for funding to design and construct that project, yes.
Yeah. So it is in the queue for funding through SCATS, the Salem Keizer Area Transportation Study. So it is in the queue. It's just not in the construction phase yet. But that is one that we are pushing through the process to get it queued up. The issue right now is with the upcoming 25, 20, I don't remember which step we're on. I think it's the 25 to 27 step. We're looking at finishing projects because all the prices went up, but we're keeping that one as close to the top as I can get it to get it funded.
Just a money issue, is that it? Just that?
Just money, yeah. If you have some extra in the back pocket, yeah, just some cash.
Any other
Yeah.
questions?
Any other questions?
If you need a bike helmet, let me know, or know anybody that needs them. We got a deal from the place we buy them about 3 months ago, and for some reason they went on sale for half off, so we're in good shape.
Sounds great. I think Chief will help you find places to get those distributed. Yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Lori Christopher for the Keizer Public Arts Commission.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors, staff. My name is Lori Christopher, and I live in Keizer. And I'm here to talk about KPAC, Keizer Public Arts Commission. And 3 things. Number 1, we're getting ready to do the first 2 wraps of the utility boxes. Like, we're so close. Like, it's gonna be within weeks. Within the month of June.
Ish.
By the end of June, we'll have 2 utility boxes wrapped, and they're great designs. We had over 20 submissions, and we have left that open so that we'll get a catalog of art, because it turns out there's a lot of utility boxes on River Road. We'd like to wrap every one of those with art and give those artists credit for doing so. So we're going to start with 2, and then as money is available, we'll continue those at least a couple every year. In addition to that, we selected the holiday card. I know it seems really weird that it's in June, but we do it in January, and the submission ends by the end of March, so that we have time to get it prepared and print the holiday cards. And that's all been done, and you will find out who that is soon enough. We will announce that and award them $100 for it's a Keizer resident, for the design, and then we'll present that at City Council in November. And the last thing that we are doing,
Well,
we are selecting, we're in the process of selecting art. So all of this beautiful art that you see in here, in an attempt to make the City Council chambers not a cardboard box, it adds so much to this room. We will have an opportunity to buy a little bit more this year. been on display in the two galleries, the East Gallery and the North Gallery. And we are meeting on the 18th, I believe that's correct. And we will select those pieces, and then they'll be up and in the council chambers, or they may be out in the living room as well. I'm not sure what's going to be selected, so we're not sure where they're going to go yet. And that is our report. Any questions? It's always good in Keizer Public Art Commission.
Yep.
Thank you.
Looking forward to those wraps. They beat the graffiti. All right, is anybody else here for a, committee report? Want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. Fantastic. We will then go to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have 4 listed public hearings this evening. So if you are here for the ordinance setting the water rates, the resolution for the city to elect to receive state revenues and certifying that we provide 4 more services, or 3, if you're here for adopting the budget for 24-25, and 4, if you're here for the matter of the amendment of rates for franchise solid waste collection, stand by. This time is for not those yet. And Kevin Dahl, you're here to talk about item 8B, the summer concert series. Can I have you wait until that one? I know you might be here a little while. You good? Okay, that way we hear from you at the same time that we are talking about that issue. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, Colleen Bush. Oh, before Colleen comes up, so stand by, sorry. I do want to acknowledge for the record a written public comment from Tammy Kunz from the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighbors Association, an email regarding their change in their meeting format, making it more of a hybrid model. So I really want to appreciate and acknowledge that for the record. Okay, now, Colleen.
Hi, Colleen Bush, resident of Keizer, here by myself. I just want to say a public thank you for the Public Works Department, specifically from Ms. Jenny Hammond, and all she has been doing for the Public Works that I've participated in. She has helped with many park cleanup activities, and I heard that there was some kind of things going on with.
Is the microphone?
Can you hear me now?
I think it just got turned up.
Hello, can you hear me? No.
Okay, mine just got turned up, so.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. There we go. Okay, now we turn them all
Start
down.
over.
Yes. Stand by.
Turn it
Okay.
down, because I don't want to blast you out.
Melissa's using the box there. Are we good?
Can you hear
All
me now?
right.
Is that
For
better?
the people who are listening at home, would you go ahead and repeat?
I will start over.
Thank you.
Okay. I love embarrassing Jenny. No, I do. I'm here to say thank you to the Public Works Department, specifically Jenny Ammon. My name is Colleen Bush. I live in Keizer. She has been very giving of resources from the city so that citizens can learn about many things, including park cleanup. I heard there were some things that happened with salmon early on this year. And tree counting, I wasn't able to participate in that. But most recently, I had been able to use a resource that she has called a watershed tabletop model. Last summer, I participated in Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association's event where we worked together and shared that with the kids that came by, how water works in the city. It's a 3D map. It's plastic, but you have all kinds of different things at the city. And then we used it at our Southeast Keizer Neighborhood National Night Out and did the same thing and shared that. And most recently, I was allowed to check it out and take it to outdoor school and use that in teaching our class about the water cycle. And we do that mostly verbally, and then we get to dig in the dirt and make our own water cycles. But they also had this as an opportunity to see how it works in a city. So I just wanted to say a public thank you for that. It was great to be part of that and be able to use city resources in that way. And you can check it out too. That's all.
Thank you so much, really appreciate that, and I'm sure, Mr. Brown, Mr. Laurie will pass that on to Ms. Zaman, our thanks for making a big difference in our community. And then
you.
we'll have an update on Trashy Tuesdays, later on in the meeting, right, Mr. Lawyer? Okay, thank you. That is everybody I've signed up for public comment. I do want to, ask, we have an email, and so I'm looking at, Ms. Minor from the library. We got an email from, BJ Toy about the free use of Iris A. Do you want to talk about that? Because it's not an agenda item, and this is something that we can take up under under other business later on, if you want to kind of tee this up for us.
Okay, so we are at the library. I'm Barbara Miner. I live in Keizer. I'm the president of the board of directors for the library, and we are gearing up for our summer program. Every Wednesday at 3:00, we have a free activity for kids, after which most of those kids come to the library and check out books. So last summer, we had a juggler scheduled for a day when it was a senior citizen juggler who was scheduled to perform on a day where it was predicted to be 97 degrees outside in the afternoon. So some furious phone calls were made to the mayor, who talked to the city manager, and I don't know what else happened. And we were allowed to use the indoor facility. We had 97 people show up for that activity. I think it may have been enhanced because it was 97 outside, and we announced on Facebook that it's indoors. So, you know, if you're sitting home with no air conditioning, an indoor juggler sounds like a good deal. But that's not really the way we want to run our program, where everyone runs in circles the morning of to see if there's an available space. So we ask in advance. BJ is in the children's committee, and she did the ask, so I don't know the exact dates, but we did ask for a room to be inside. We don't know the weather forecast yet. The back patio is where we normally have our events, but there's no covering, and parts of it have no shade. So we ask to use a room at no cost, of course, because we have a very small space and a small budget, but lots of ideas for kids and lots of books. Any questions?
Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just as I look at this, traditionally we have waived fees, but not the refundable deposit, which is $750, I believe. Is that something that the library is going to be able to handle in terms of, again, it's refundable, but is the library going to be able to handle that in the meantime?
Yes, we have money in the bank.
So, okay, so it's throughout the, several dates in the summer, and so I just wanted to make sure that that was going to be all right as well. Okay, thank you.
So, I'm looking at, Mr. Brown, and actually, council, we could bring this up under other business to ask staff to come back with, a recommendation for this at our next council meeting. With concurrence now, can we go ahead and, have our staff members, have Ms. Bissett, work this and prepare it for our next council meeting? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe that Mr. Wood was planning to ask us to make a decision on it today. And he included his information in an email due to the timing of it coming before council. I do want to note that the library did turn the original request in at the end of April. And so there was just, I think there was a paperwork snafu on internally, and a misunderstanding of that it needed to come before the city council. So just an innocent oversight. And so I believe Mr. Wood was going to ask us to take action on that today so that the library could move forward with planning and registration. I just have one request, that we inventory the reptiles before they come in the building and before they leave, or at the door, so we know that they are all accounted for, so we don't have squiggly things running around. That is my only request.
We
so
will
thank
make
you.
that happen, absolutely. Yep.
So with that, and no, I hadn't seen that email, so thank you for that alert. So we will bring this up under other business, since it's not on the agenda this evening. So we will take this up at that time. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Make a note of that. Library. Okay. That goes later on in my pile. Okay, that is everybody. I signed up for public comment. Is there anyone else who wanted to address the council tonight before we get into the public hearings? Okay, everybody's here for the public hearings. Good to go. Okay, we will start off then with our first one, item 7A, open a public hearing for an ordinance setting water rates 2025, repealing ordinance number 2023-860. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, this is not going to be as exciting as a juggler or a lizard person. However, exciting for me in an accounting budget kind of way. The fiscal year 24-25 City of Keizer Budget Committee approved, budget document which is scheduled for discussion on tonight's agenda, includes a 4% rate increase for the water rates. That would be effective January 1st, 2025. The rate increase will provide approximately $75,000 in additional revenue for use in the city's water system. That money will be diverted to capital improvements to continue to complete the water master plan. In addition, due to the significant inflationary economic pressures that we've all experienced at the gas station and also at the grocery store, the proposed rate increase includes a 4% discount. The 4% discount is being funded by resources transferred from the American Rescue Plan Act Fund, also known as ARPA. So the net impact on Keizer residents this year is a 0 rate increase. Some of the background, during 2012-13 fiscal year, the City Council approved a water master plan. That plan includes approximately $10 million of infrastructure improvements over the next 20 years. I am pleased to say that we have about $3.6 million of capital improvements left to complete that plan. Also in 2002, as amended in 2004, the City Council adopted a cost of service model that is used to calculate the necessary rate increases to meet the needs of that water master plan. Those rates, or that plan basically indicates a 4 to 5% rate increase annually over the next 20 years to meet the requirements of what we need to do with that water master plan. Our current situation, the water rates were last adjusted January 1st, 2024. And again, I mentioned the $3.6 million of capital improvements yet to be completed. So tonight, what you're looking at is a 4% rate increase offset by a 4% discount funded by the American Rescue Plan Act Fund. This increase and discount would go into effect January 1st, 2025. The discount would end December 31st, 2025. Our water rate model is based off of a calendar year, so that way it can coincide with the City of Salem's sewer rate increases or decreases as they see fit. So with that, staff recommends that you open the public hearing, take any testimony if there is, address any questions, close the hearing, and then adopt ordinance 2024, setting water rates 2025, and repealing ordinance number 2023-860. And with that, I'd be happy to address any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Wood? Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I just wanted to clarify, because this took up a large portion of our budget meeting. So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. So right now, the water master plan and the funding model requires that we increase rates every 4 years. So this year, we are increasing our rates 4% as per our plan, but it will be covered by the ARPA Act, so the net increase is 0. However, the following year, when we increase 4% again, it will be 8% since the last time that people saw an increase on their bill. That's where that 8% was coming from. So either people will absorb that 8% increase the next year, or we will spread that out over the next several years, thereby diminishing the funds that we have for our water maintenance. Am I understanding this correctly?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
One point of clarification, we adjust them each year, and you said every 4 years.
Yeah, thank you. I meant each year. So, yeah.
Just for, mostly, we know, but for people watching, they'll go, wait,
Thank
what?
you. Thank you.
Want to make sure that we're clear on that. Counselor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And then, and just furthermore, just to clarify, so I get this right, we're still going to have our group of residents and up here, councilors and mayor on the dais, that will have another healthy discussion that decides what happens next year, correct?
Every year?
Okay, thank you.
So, yes. Counselor Reed?
Thank you. So I guess just a follow-up. So a no vote on this would mean what exactly? Because we have to set the water rates, and so I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what a no vote would constitute here.
Mr. Wood?
A no vote would indicate that we would continue with the January 1st, 2024 rates.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything further? We do have one piece of written testimony. It was marked for water rates, but the one from Sam Spink is actually on the garbage rates. So we're going to get to that one when we get to item 8D. So I don't have anything written, and do we have signups for so we'll get the sign-in sheet for the public comments. Okay, so we don't have anybody signed up to testify on this issue. Is there anyone here who would like to testify in this public hearing on the water rates? Going once. Okay, we got one. Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I just want to say that as part of the Budget Committee, we worked very hard and late and put a lot of effort into what we presented to the council. So I would just like to encourage the council to consider what we put forth and not try to override what we worked hard to put together.
Any questions? All right, and thank you. And thank you for the reminder to thank all the members of the Budget Committee for serving this year. It was a very healthy and robust conversation on many issues. And that's how we as a community get things done. So thank you to all the members of the Budget Committee. Anybody else? Anything further before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt ordinance number 2024, setting water rates for 2025 and repealing ordinance number 2023-860.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt ordinance number 2024, setting water rates for 2025, repealing ordinance number 2023-860. Discussion. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am going to be supporting this because it needs to be funded and we need to take good care of our water infrastructure, and I really appreciate that. You know, the fact that this is going to cause considerable problems in the future, I am reticent about, but as Councilor Cross has pointed out, that is a conversation for another day. But I just want to acknowledge that it will be a problem in the future. So but I will be supporting this.
Thank you. Further comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Hussman. Let's go then to item 7B, resolution declaring the city's election to receive state revenues and resolution certifying that the city of Keizer provides 4 or more municipal services. Public hearing is now open. Mr. Wood.
State law requires that in order to receive state shared revenues, which is primarily derived from liquor sales, the city of Keizer must approve a resolution electing to receive the funds and a resolution certifying that the city provides 4 or more municipal services. In addition, we're required to require a time for citizen input on potential uses of revenue share funds. This year, we're expecting to receive $454,000 of state shared revenue, with the majority of that going to support police operations within the general fund. With that, I would take any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Wood? Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Primarily, that's kind of a loose word, so like percentage-wise. So if I'm Chief Copeland and I'm like, okay, here's some more dollars for my budget, what does that look like? 50%, 60%?
Sure, to address your question, the police department's approximately 70% of the general fund, so they're going to about 70% of the shared revenue dollars.
So 70% of that 454,000?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions? All right, is there anyone signed up for this public hearing?
There is not.
So nobody has signed up to testify in the public hearing. Open the floor to anyone who would like to address the council on either of these issues. All right, seeing none, any further questions before I close the public hearing? Council Presidents, no?
It's not a question about the public hearing, so I can ask it after. It's
Okay.
about all in one or separate motions.
Okay, process. All right, public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr?
Process question, Mr. Lindsay, Mr. Wood, all in one, full meal deal or individual motions?
I would say it's easier to do each resolution separately.
Separately? Alrighty. Okay.
Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, declaring the city's election to receive state revenues.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, declaring the city's election to receive state revenues. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Hussman. Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, certifying that the city of Keizer provides 4 or more municipal services.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, certifying that the city of Keizer provides 4 or more municipal services. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Hussman. That takes us to item 7C, resolution adopting the fiscal year 2024-25 budget, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, on May 13th and May 14th, the Budget Committee got together. And again, I would second your thank you to all the Budget Committee members. It was an exciting moment this year. Do appreciate the time and effort that everyone puts into it. And look forward to seeing you all again next year. It's going to be fun.
Moment?
Hours.
How many moments were those?
There was quite a few moments of excitement, yes. But I appreciate the engagement. It lets me know that as a city, we're not just rubber stamping any of our budget information. This is a key piece of our transparency in dealing with the public. So the public process of going through the budget, having the deliberations and conversations is important to our process here as a city. So again, I thank all of the Budget Committee members for the hours that they put in. So with that, they did meet on the 13th and 14th of May. They received public testimony, received the city manager's budget message, deliberated, made quite a few adjustments this year, which is always exciting. I won't necessarily go into all of the adjustments. However, tonight we have scheduled another public hearing to receive any additional input that we may receive from residents on the fiscal year 24-25 budget. By state law, we are required to have a budget adopted by June 30th. If we don't, we'll be writing pink slips for everyone the night of June 30th, and we'll no longer have spending appropriations July 1st, and that would be a bad thing. The total budget for the year is $69,807,600. And again, by Oregon budget law, we are required to have it adopted by June 30th. If we do make expenditures without appropriations, officials who authorize those may be held personally liable, and that would be a bad thing. So also by resolution, we're required to take a look at our police services fee and our park services fee. Both are not changing this year. They're going to remain the same as they were during fiscal year 23-24. So the alternatives that you have tonight, you can adopt the attached resolution, adopting and making appropriations. You can amend the budget if you so choose. If you amend it less than 5,000 or 10% of a fund's expenditures, no additional process steps are required. If you do amend the budget greater than $5,000 or the greater of 10%, that would require us to do a second public hearing and provide notice to the community. The other item is you can amend the proposed property tax amount. However, I don't recommend doing that as we are at our maximum limit by the state of 2.0838 per $1,000 of assessed value. You do have the option that you could lower that if you so choose. However, again, I would not recommend that. And you can also take no action tonight, at which point the appropriations would end June 30th. And I suppose we could just call it a day on July 1st and have a vacation or something. I'm not sure what we would do, but anyway, so our recommendation is open the public hearing, take testimony. If there's any questions, we can address those, close the hearing, and then adopt Resolution R 2024, adopting the fiscal year 24-25 budget, making appropriations, imposing and categorizing taxes, or amend as you so choose. And with that, I'm free to address any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions? Ms. Bissett, I did open the public hearing. Okay, just double checking I did. Okay, questions for Mr. Wood? Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So a couple questions. The $454,000 from the state allocated funds, will that be in this upcoming tax year?
That is correct, yes.
So just that $450,000 will just be added to the general fund as a line item?
That is already included in the approved budget.
It is? Okay, perfect. And then the next question, how much in transient occupancy tax do we have left?
Gosh, okay, just a minute, I can find it.
Oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're almost there.
I just gotta scroll far enough.
And then also how much unallocated that we haven't assigned ARPA funds?
With respect to the ARPA funds, they've all been assigned.
Okay.
I feel like we need a TikTok kind of thing going. I guess we need a shorter budget too. Take out some lines. With respect to the unassigned transient occupancy tax, we have approximately $76,800. And that can be found on page 55 of the budget summary, or page 77 of the packet.
And that is with estimating that we'll get how much in TOT dollars in the next year?
That is estimating $350,000.
And we received more than that this year, right?
Yet to be determined. They're starting to level off a little bit the last.
But haven't we already received 350?
No, we have not.
We have not? Okay, so you just budgeted flat on that?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Madam Mayor?
Mr. Lindsay.
I just wanted to clarify too, because I know you had said it's, if they want to change, it's either 5,000 or 10%, whichever's greater. So actually, if there's a fund and it's a pretty big fund, you can ignore that 5,000 and just make sure that you're not changing it more than 10%.
That is correct.
Okay, because I didn't want you guys to get tripped up that it isn't just 5,000, it's per fund, it's the greater of either 5,000 or 10%. So you do have some power to change it without having to go through any other process.
Thank you. So change it as in the unassigned, I'm looking at these that have not the fund balances, but unsigned or what was the term used instead of contingency? The unanticipated,
It would just be ending fund balance.
okay.
It's-
So
there's many
later
words for
on, if we want to move something from an ending fund balance or, we get a project that we want to go ahead and fund, we move it out of contingency or unanticipated expenses into that expenditure, that's not the same thing as a greater than 10% change in the budget, is it?
Madam Mayor, it'd be a similar process when we're moving the money out of the contingency to the appropriate bucket if we came up with a great idea or a great project. That would still require a supplemental budget and we'll have to come back to the city council.
Right, comes to council though.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. Is there a point at which there's a change that's large enough that we have to go back to the budget committee?
No, there is not, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. That's what. All right, any other questions for Mr. Wood? Okay, do we have anybody signed up? I think we do.
Yes, Mayor, Jonathan Thompson and Corey Flardo.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My name is Jonathan Thompson. I'm here today as Board Treasurer for the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. And before I get into the Keizer stuff, I think we should revisit the discussion on water rates one more time because
That ship sailed, but thank you very much.
no, quickly, we were asked by the Budget Committee to come back and discuss our request, which is what initially brought us here today. But in the intervening time, I've had some discussions with the mayor and some of you, and it was suggested that we, rather than do a direct allocation for the chamber, we do a contract, which sounds wonderful. And in order to put that together, it was suggested that a group of three city councilors and 3 chamber board members get together and work that out. We think that is a wonderful idea, and we are here to ask you to move forward on that idea.
All right.
And with that, I'm happy to answer questions. And if I don't know them, Corey does.
Hopefully.
Yes, indeed. Oh, thank you very much. I know this was something that we haven't really done before. We haven't formalized, a more specific agreement between the city and the chamber. And looking at our other outside funding agencies, we're quite clear about what they're asking for, how they're going to use the funds, et cetera. And I love this idea, and thank you for bringing this forward at this time. What I'm going to look at our city attorney. Is there a process by which we accept the chamber's ask that we press pause on the budget allocation request and convene or meet with the chamber about this?
Well, and I would even look at our finance director as well. If it were put in the budget at that certain amount, it doesn't mean you have to allocate it right away. It just means it's there to be spent for the year. I'm not getting that wrong, right? And so then you could push pause on not just giving it up front. And then if you wanted to have some sort of, either have the legal department figure out what that means and negotiate for you, or whether or not you wanted to set up some sort of committee or set up some sort of task force or something like that that would work towards sort of how you would envision spending that. There's sort of, those are the different ways in which you could do it. Mm-hmm. So if you all wanted to order me to work on it directly and negotiate with somebody, I could, or if people wanted to have more voices at the table, you could potentially set up a group and meet and discuss it that way and hash it out, and then I could come in on the back end and help out with the language on a contract or an agreement. It's be more like an agreement than anything else, so.
So what I heard from the chambers, they're asking us to come in and work with them on what this might look like and what things that would work. What's the chamber's role? What's the city's role? How do we formalize and put into writing a lot of the things we've been doing over the years? And I think that starting with probably more general conversations before we get in the nitty-gritty of a budget request sounds like it's more in order, and that may be more of a policy level decision or conversation before we get into actual budgetary items. Is that what, did I hear you correctly?
Madam Mayor, yes, you did. I think that because it was also pointed out that not only is the city very generous with the chamber on our budget request, but there's also things like the Keizer Fest Parade and the Holiday Lights Parade that exist kind of outside of the request, but in the budget. And it would be nice to put all of those things into one package. I think it would set future councils and future chamber boards up for success in the future, so.
That sounds like a prudent step forward, and take this step by step, have this policy conversation. Ms. Lindsay, is this something that, if I were to delegate council members to engage in this conversation, is that something I would do under other business?
That would be an appropriate time for you guys to then address. I mean, were they on here? They weren't specifically put on the agenda?
No.
So, other business would be the place in which you would do that.
Okay.
I would just say, thinking about this a little bit, you know, it's different if it were a task force that was city initiated. Oh, sorry.
No, we're good.
About that. If it was a task force that was city initiated, or if it was a task force that you were on their home turf and they were inviting you, that would change the dynamic of whether or not, what type of meetings law you would have to follow and such too. So if they're the ones saying, come on over and bring some folks, as long as you're not bringing a quorum, then you're not creating a public meeting, if that's helpful as well.
It's very helpful. We want to make sure that we're doing things by the book and, you know, engaging in conversation with the chamber leadership to start to really hash out some of the policy questions, issues, and things that we've learned over the years, and set a framework for going forward. Sounds like a wise step. So I will do that under other business.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to make sure that whatever agreement through these meetings, it is going to, if I'm understanding correctly, it will come back to City Council for approval. So we're not, like, this group of three is not going to decide funding.
No,
It will come back.
Yeah, if there is any agreement between the city and the chamber, you guys would be the ones blessing it for sure and voting on it.
So we would have an opportunity to still ask questions.
Yeah, and or tweak it and or reject it.
Great, because I think that the budget committee as a whole acknowledged that this was going to be put forward to the council, for the council to handle, and I want to be respectful of them putting that confidence in our council that we would truly vet this out and have a conversation, which is what they expected us to do.
Yeah, and it is a larger amount than some of the other asks from other groups that had very particularized things. So I think that's exactly in the spirit of the meetings I sat through too.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I might also point out that if there's a policy agreement between the two organizations, that also would come to council for consideration before any agreement was signed. Councilor Cross.
I'm not sure who this question is for, but I heard Mr. Lindsay say this, and I'm sure it's for Mr. Wood also. So do we need to put some kind of placeholder, or will it just be contingency in the budget?
Madam Mayor, City Council, excellent question. I was going to recommend a friendly amendment if we decided not to take any action tonight. The friendly amendment would really be within the general fund transient occupancy tax area of the budget. That $76,800 of unassigned fund balance at the end. My friendly amendment would be to move that to contingency. That way, we as city staff would have to come back to the city council to authorize moving however much we negotiate as far as payment to the chamber would be. Move it out of contingency to that line item, because if it's an ending fund balance, we can't spend it next year.
So,
Yep.
follow up real quick on that. So where is that now?
That is on page.
I know you told me what page, but what is the description?
Oh, sure. It's currently the $76,800 is in fund balance unassigned.
Okay, so we need to move it to a contingency so we can use it.
I would appreciate that, yes.
Well, I guess we could do something for you. All right, got it, thanks.
Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, Mr. Wood, just to clarify, you're talking about a friendly amendment, but we haven't made a motion yet.
That's correct.
So, I'm just checking where the friendly amendment's coming from.
Good
Want to
catch.
be a good team player. I'm thinking, though, that we wouldn't need a friendly amendment if we made, or just talk me through the process, because you have two motions here. One, we can accept it as presented, the first motion, or it would be as amended. So we don't need a friendly amendment if we direct you to move that to contingency, or do we need a motion to move it to contingency? That's my question. I love confusing everybody. It's my goal in life.
I appreciate that. I do believe that you need a motion to move it out of fund balance to contingency.
Okay, great.
And I would think that would be the cleanest way. And then
Okay.
you could have a vote on it that way as well.
And just to clarify, follow-up, Madam Mayor?
Follow-up?
Appropriate verbiage is transient lodging tax, or otherwise known as TOP fund?
According to our ordinances, it's TOT funds.
TOP
However,
funds?
we can take it however you want to dish it.
The fund, okay, thank you.
And I would just say, wait till the public hearing portion is closed before making a motion.
Right.
Thank you for listening as we've been working out these details. Yes, Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just to reiterate, Mr. Wood, that would be $76,800 put into contingency.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
$76,800, okay. All right, I think we're good to go, and we'll take up the matter under other business to appoint city representatives to come and work with the board and your executive director on looking at the policies and agreements between the city of Keizer and the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. I appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anyone else signed up for public comment, Ms. Bissett?
There is not.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to address the budget or the city council on adopting the budget? Can I pick on someone who is here who can talk about their fund and the great work they're doing? I'm looking at Ms. Butler. Would you be willing to come up and talk about the work that the Keizer Community Foundation is doing? And let us know. I'm giving you a free plug. Oh, and anybody else who would like to come up with you. Oh. And I appreciate you allowing me to call you up. We had some questions during the budget process, and we had a wonderful conversation since then. And I would love for you to share with us, but also with the community, about the Keizer Community Foundation and the closets and what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Madam Mayor and City Council. My name is Audrey Butler. I'm a sales director with Mary Kay. And for fun, I am the president of the Keizer Community Foundation. The closets. The closets is one of our projects. It's one of our pet projects. And that was started probably 5 or 6 years ago. I was trying to remember the date. And I don't know who isn't aware, some of you are new, but I was moving and cleaning closets for my house, moving some jackets. I had new jackets, so I called the high school and I said, can anybody there use them? I called the counselor's office and they said, absolutely. So I took them over. It was a cold, rainy day in May, I remember. And one of the counselors said that there was a young man coming in and it was his birthday, but he didn't have a jacket. And so she called him in knowing that I was coming, and he came in the room. And she said, I want you to pick 2 of these jackets. And he said, 2? She says, it's your birthday. And as he left, she handed him food that she had off her shelf. And I noticed that she had clothing and that she had a lot of food in her office. And I said, what is going on here? And as a mom, I was certainly concerned. She said, there's many high school kids that are trash diving on Friday to take food home. And a lot of them don't have warm clothing. And I said, well, that's not going to work. At the time, I was involved with the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. I was the past president, and I started the women's group. And so from then, we just gathered, and we started what we called the closets at McNary, and that was the first one. We're now in all 10 schools, and the foundation funds the closets. So through grants and with the help of the city, the last 3 years, or the last 2 years, or hoping to get the third, we have been able to serve children in all 10 Keizer schools, and it's gone flawlessly. And we have found that teachers are no longer having to spend over $600 a year of their own money to buy snacks for kids, clothing for kids. And it's worked, and it's going to keep working as long as I have anything to do with it.
Thank you so much. If people want to know more, do you have a website?
Yes, it's the KeizerCommunityFoundation.org. And we also have a Facebook page called The Closets with a K. Our phone numbers are on there. I just kudos to my foundation team because we all work together and have been working together since the inception of the closets. And I just am really proud of my team.
I really appreciate that, and I'll go to Councilor Reed here in a second. One of the questions that I asked, and I would like to give you an opportunity, is, so the last 2 years, the city has been a large funder for the closets, and this year, again, the budget committee approved, and I can't see anybody saying no to doing that one more time, but ARPA is going to be done. How can we partner, participate, promote, to allow for the continuity of this program, which has seen a significant increase in need over the last few years, especially during COVID?
We've had a great increase in the numbers of children that have touched the closets. And that's been since COVID, so we're very grateful for the relief funding. But as I was sitting back there, I was counting the heads that were gathered around here, and I thought, geez, has everybody made a $200 donation to the foundation this year? We could take care of schools for at least a quarter. And that's basically what we're doing. We're asking publicly. As an example, I needed water this last week. I try not to buy water for the schools because the bottle fees are so expensive. So I will reach out to a business, and usually will come through on my first or second phone call. I had a business that's going to donate a whole pallet of water to some of these schools. And so it's just asking. We do have donors in place that we're going to partner with a little bit more thoroughly. And we actually have a grant writer on our board or on our foundation that is very helpful. So we'll make it work.
No, you're good on time. But I'm also looking at our leadership for Keizer United and Salem Leadership Foundation, and I believe you're a member of or participating in Keizer United? Yes?
Keizer United? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I belong to the group in the past and have sought out my needs. They have made little grants for us. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places to reach out. I think Keizer United does a great job. So yeah, we'll keep reaching, keep seeking.
Okay. And I really appreciate that. And if there's ways that any of us can help with additional partnerships and resources, please do not hesitate to reach out.
200, 300, do I hear any more? $500?
What about
That'll
that?
work.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. And Councilor Reed had a question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you so much, Audrey, for coming and helping us understand the contributions you make to our community, and they're very much appreciated. I can certainly say that from my perspectives in the school as well. I want to understand a little bit better. So you say this was originally done by the Keizer Network of Women, and then the foundation took over. So I want to understand that relationship a little better. Is the foundation like the fundraising, and then the Keizer Network of Women the execution of it, or help me understand that a little bit more?
So I started the Keizer Network of Women way back when. And it was, one of our projects was to take over and help with the closets, sorting clothes and that kind of thing. And then it just got to be too much. And then when the chamber and the foundation separated, it's been a few years, the Keizer Network of Women weren't involved any longer.
Okay.
And so as a foundation, we were able to seek grants that we weren't able to do before.
All right, thank you. Follow up?
Follow up?
I know that there is also a relationship with supporting the Keizer Public Arts. And if you could help me understand that a little bit better too, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, one of the projects that we have through the foundation is supporting public art. And we also support education. The education part was helping 501c3s be better educated on how to fundraise. Before COVID was our last class that we had. We haven't had one since then. Now we're working as part of our education is through the closets, and we were working with peer groups in the schools, and they were helping with the closets. Public art, what we're doing with public art is paying the stipend. Now, I'm not the one that handled that. I got my art gal. But yes, we are supporting what you see on River Road, the public art. And so we work with KPAC. Lori Christopher is a real big advocate for that. And so she helps us with our public art and finding what we need for River Road. And we go ahead and pay the stipend to the city, who then in turn pays the artist. If I'm not 100% right, is that right? Yeah.
That is true. And then this year, we were able to fund those stipends through our transient occupancy tax. We talked about that during budget, so we may not need to apply for those funds this year. I'm looking at Mr. Wood, because I remember we had that conversation.
We do have some contractual arrangements that we have to look into before we make that determination, but that was the general guidance of the direction that we were headed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was just an opportunity, since we are shifting the art to the transient occupancy tax, since there's clearly a visitor and destination asset for the city. So really appreciate the work that the foundation is doing. I'm going to go to, was it Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to kind of, in follow-up to Councilor Reed's question about understanding the art stipend thing, one of the things that for those that are watching or listening at home, one of the beautiful things about having a community foundation is the ability for that community foundation to be nimble and flexible, and adaptable would be another word that I would think of when there is a need in the community. Mm-hmm. Having a community foundation allows them to be open, to being creative and receptive to needs, helping to meet the needs and finding ways to meet the needs in the community. So while there might be a diversity of projects or programs that you hear about coming from the community foundation, I just would like people to think about the beauty of that in being able to help step in when there might not be another right match to help meet a need in the community as a nonprofit. So just kind of in follow-up to if people are listening going, oh, well, that's random. They do art stipends and then they do the closets. And but that's the beauty of a community foundation.
Thank you, yeah. And people can look at our website and learn about the mission. We have a real, it's all about community. It's public art, it's education. Kids come and look at that art, and so many aren't even exposed to art in everyday life. They can see it right on River Road, education. The closets has been a pet project because kids can't learn unless they're clothed and fed. And that takes priority. And that's a program we're very, very proud of.
Thank you.
Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Butler, thank you for being here and all the work that you've put forth. I have it on pretty good authority that if you were to check with the Keizer Network of Women, that there is some additional help there if you have specific needs, and ask them that they could probably extend to you also.
Thank you.
I've got one more comment I just saw on Facebook today. Can you talk a little bit about the plan to meet with the school counselors?
Oh, yes.
I think that was a really neat, and this is the first time you've done it, or is it?
Right. That just came to fruition a few days ago because we don't get reports back from the school till the end of the quarter. So right before they leave for school, will I get numbers as to how many kids needed to access closets? I was concerned, like a lot of people, as why those numbers have gotten so big in the last quarter. And my first thought was because of maybe staff education. There's such a turnover at that level in the school district. You know, when you have outreach coordinators, I think is what they're called. And the turnover is so great, they don't understand the process. So I was wondering, was an increase the third quarter or the second quarter higher because they finally caught on? Or was it because there's such a high need? Or, you know, there's so many things that could happen that you wonder about. And so I generally will meet with counselors or speak with them at least at the beginning of the school year, make sure they understand the program. I don't have time for that. And so I said, I'm buying them lunch. I'm going to buy them lunch at the end of the year, at the end of the summer, and get everybody in the same room and find out what their needs are, what we can do better. Let them know what we need. Let them know what numbers we need from them and when we need them. Better work together. And so this is going to be our first try at it. They're excited. I raised the question to a couple of the outreach people through the schools in the last few days, and they're very, very excited to learn what the other school is doing that they're not. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a great asset.
I agree. I was very excited when I saw it pop up on social media and thought, you know, day to day, can't make bricks without straw.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Good relationship building. Anything further for Ms. Butler? All right. Thank you so much for allowing me to call on you and for being here tonight and helping us understand the Keizer Community Foundation.
We appreciate it, and thank you very, very much.
All right. Anyone else for the public hearing this evening? Anything else for Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure if this is appropriate or maybe it's another discussion item, but I know Mr. Dial is here to talk about the concerts, and I know that Tim Davis didn't get some of the paperwork in on time, but I absolutely think it's appropriate that there are some amount of TOT dollars that would go to those concerts in the park. If we wanted to make a friendly amendment to that, would that be right now, Mr. Wood?
If you so choose, yes.
Oh, you could close the public hearing first and then make a motion and then do a friendly amendment to it.
Okay. All right. Anything else before I close the public hearing? Going once, going twice. Public hearing is now closed. So we'll need to put a motion on the table and then we can begin deliberations and amendments. Correct?
Process question.
Process. Council President Starr.
Thank you for the process question, Counselor Cross. Do we have to do, if we are transferring, just clarifying our process here, if we're going to put a motion on the table to transfer that 76,800 ending fund balance in our top fund account into contingency, can we just leave that there to address the summer concerts at another time? Or do we have to have a specific motion tonight? I'm just trying to like keep it smooth. Are we good? We're good.
We're good.
Okay.
We can
Answered our own question.
We can absolutely
See?
do that.
Like, isn't that awesome? Answered our own question. Okay.
Fantastic. Okay. Council President Starr.
Oh, I need to do the first amendment first, whatever, motion. Okay. I move the Keizer City Council transfer $76,800 from the ending fund balance in the top fund account and transfer that to contingency line item in the same account.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council amend the budget. Thank you. In the amount of $76,800 from the ending fund balance to the contingency line item in the transient occupancy tax fund, or TOT. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. That's Hussman. There you go. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R2024, adopting the fiscal year 2024-25 budget as amended, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R 2024, adopting the fiscal year 2024-25 budget as amended, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes. Discussion. Councilor Kohler.
Just a quick statement. This whole budget thing this year has been quite an interesting challenge compared to past years. And again, I just want to extend my deepest appreciation for all the members of the committee and all the staff that helped put all that together, that make it all possible.
Thank you very much. Councilor Cross.
Sorry, I do have a question. So if we did bring it back at a different time and we wanted to use TOT money for the concert series, is that a whole, like, staff has to come up with a resolution suggestion and take up staff time?
Correct, but it wouldn't be much time. It would not be a big impact on us if we're already doing it for the Keizer Chamber.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Very thoughtful. Appreciate that. And I would concur with, we have the chair and vice chair, Councilor Kohler and Mr. Thompson, who kept us on track through the process, as well as our illustrious staff. So thank you to everybody for the work on this budget. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. That's Hussman. Thank you very much. That takes us to item 8D, which is an order in the matter of the amendment of rates for franchise solid waste collection within the city of Keizer, effective of July 1, 2024 and January 1, 2025. The public hearing is now open. This goes to, but before we begin, we are going to go to Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will be abstaining from the vote and discussion and removing myself from the dais as my husband has been employed for Lawrence Sanitation for over a quarter of a century. This is like a long time, huh?
It makes it sound longer that way. He started as a child. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you for the reminder. And we now go to Mr. Brown.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. The Keizer has two solid waste franchisors, Valley Solid Waste Management Corporation and Lawrence Sanitation and Recycling Incorporated. They have to come to the council for rate increases each year that they seek one. That is a normal occurrence. However, in 2022, they actually did forego an approved rate increase because of coming out of the COVID. But the last increase was approved in December of 2022 of 10% to become effective on February 1 of 2023. At that time also, the city council asked them to come up with a discount program for Keizer residents that may need assistance, and they came up with a 20% discount on residential cart service at the council's request. They requested to meet with me several months ago and presented a case to the city council last month and requested a 5% adjustment effective July 1st, 2024, an additional 3% on January 1st, 2025. They also cautioned, as they spoke with us last month, about two factors that may increase the solid waste rates that are not included in what's requested now, but that is the operation of the Covanta incinerator and the county tipping fees. Both of those there's no indication that there may be a change, but if there was a change, that may impact the request. They would have to come back before you, however, to request something additional than what they're requesting now. Our ordinance requires that the city manager perform an analysis of the ask, and one of the ways we look at that is look at one of the largest haulers in the country, Waste Management, and their macro trends for this year was a 12% increase from the previous year. With the 5% and the 3% increase, that's a little bit over 8%, and that certainly is in line with the urban consumers' West Coast rates of both 4% for the last 2 years. We do want to be open and disclose that there is a benefit to the city because of our 5% franchise fee. So the benefit to the city, if the waste haulers raise their rates, then the city sees an incremental rate increase, and that's estimated to be $7,600 roughly. The council is required to hold a public hearing, which is what we're here for today, and then a vote would be needed to approve that rate increase. And that authority lies only with the city council. And I think that wraps up. After the public hearing, you can take action today. Without action, the rates will stay as they are now.
Okay. Questions for Ms. Brown on the staff report? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Brown, what if on your staff report, under the alternatives, you stated that if we take no action or we don't approve the rate increase, the rate changes cannot be implemented. What does that mean for our residents if this doesn't happen?
Yeah, thank you, Council President Starr and Council and Mayor. It's an interesting question that came up when I was talking with actually Councilor Reed about what's the appeal process for the sanitation haulers, and the answer is they don't really have one. That they would basically have to come back and keep making their case before the city council. If the council takes no action, then the increase at July 1 of 5% and 3% at January 1 would not occur, and it would stay the same as it currently is.
Follow up?
So are we aware of any impact to pickup schedules? Like what would happen if we said no to a rate increase? That's number one. Mm-hmm. And then number two is is there any requirement? So it's June 3rd, and this is scheduled to take effect July 1st. What, there's no like 30-day notice type, or are we within that? Did we meet that because they presented at a prior city council meeting? Where are we at with that?
I had thought there was a 30-day notice, but there actually is not any notice requirement. They told me that they would send out notice as soon as the council made the change. So they plan to get out notice quickly, but you also could make an effective date other than what they've asked for on July 1.
You don't have another
Follow-up?
I guess the fund, if you will, or the process for applying for assistance if you're unable to pay your bill. How is that advertised for our residents who might need to utilize that service? And are there other ways or additional ways that could be communicated to our residents?
I'm sure there are some ways. We could do a push after this, if the council votes to change this, or even if they don't change it, we could push additionally this rate discount. I'm thinking this is probably on our website. Are you aware of that, Mr. Wood?
I believe it is.
But let me just state for the record, it's a 20% discount for households if they are 60 or older and have an income 60% of the state median household income. So we could push that out on the social media, and we also could possibly put it in a water bill, a note on the water bill.
I would love that. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay.
Okay. Anything further?
Maybe one more. Maybe.
That's why I asked.
When is the first, let's pretend for a moment that this is approved and the effective date is July 1st. When is the first bill?
Ooh, it's a good question. And I have to tell you, they apologize.
Because they do every other, right?
Yeah, they apologize profusely for not being here. There were,
We got folks here.
oh, I'm sorry, they are here.
Oh, look at that.
There's a whole
We
row of
really
them,
weren't
too.
talking about you. So,
Yeah.
Good.
I'll be calling them up here in a sec.
Yeah, they could probably answer that better than
I will
me.
pend that question.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions for Mr. Brown before we call up folks from our two businesses? All good? Ms. Bissett, are they signed up under the public?
We just have Sam Spink.
Did you need to?
Just Sam?
Sam Spink.
Pardon, yes. So before we go into the public comment, I do want to acknowledge for the record the public written comment from Sam Spink that was submitted by email. So
Mayor.
that is now entered into the record.
Sam is also present.
Where is Sam? Oh, there you are, okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Keizer City
do.
Council.
Yes.
The biggest issue I have with this, with the
Madam
rate
Mayor?
increase is
Yes,
that.
one moment,
Sorry to interrupt.
please.
You didn't officially open up the public, did you?
Yeah, I did, right at the beginning.
Oh, okay, perfect. Then-
Ms. Councilor Reed asked me the same question, but I did a public hearing, so.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, we had to make sure our process is right. Go ahead. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Keizer City Council. The biggest issue I have with these rate increases is that I've already seen my neighbors switching to smaller container sizes and thus holding excess amounts of trash behind for the next week, constituting a sanitary nuisance. I've noticed an uptick in rats, roaches, insects, flies, things of that instances from the last rate increase. The current rate is simply unaffordable for many residents. They've applied for the discount program, but they can't get it, and they're living on Social Security. They've contacted the hauler Lawrence. They've given them nothing. They've said, pay it or don't get service. They've been very blunt about that. And comparing the rates to similar sized cities like Corvallis, Oregon, for a 35-gallon service, they're only charging $24 and 72 cents a month for that service. And then for 64-gallon service, they were charging $32.85. So there's a substantial difference there. And they are a similar size city to ours. They offer organics weekly, they offer garbage service weekly, and recycling bi-weekly. So these are the biggest issues that were brought up by several of my neighbors who are not able to be present here, is that we are only going to be creating more issues. And with the lack of recyclable materials introduced, I think it was in 2019, they introduced the new rules for recycling that's only going to add to the amount of trash that we're producing. So we're only going to see an uptick in trash over the next couple of years. And therefore, that's going to cause more issues as we continue to see rate increases, because people are just going to probably opt out of the service altogether, start holding their trash, thus creating basically people's own personal landfills in their own backyards.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Spinks?
There's no S on the end, it's just Spink.
Oh, sorry, my apologies, Mr. Spink. You mentioned the 95-gallon service, that you found that to be something that would be helpful for your neighbors. Is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct, because right now, several of my neighbors have the 35-gallon and 64-gallon service, and they're being charged, I think it's $142.80 something cents, if I'm thinking correctly here. So this 95-gallon service would be a big discount to them, because there's several large families that live in my neighborhood. So this would be a great help to them. Another issue with the way they're being charged is that I did take a peek into how they're being charged. I would like to ask what the additional 35-gallon cart weekly service refers to, because on their bills, it's showing that they're being billed for 35-gallon cart service, not the additional 35-gallon cart emptied once a week.
Okay. So the 95, and this is something that the two businesses mentioned last time, that was going to be a help for larger households. They would not have extra charges for like an extra bag and so forth. They'd be able to fit it all in the roll cart. Is that what your neighbors are telling you as well?
Yeah, they're telling me that as well, because they're consistently having more issues. Another issue that one of my neighbors brought to my attention, who's a former, who used to live in Portland, is that when they introduced, when they raised the rates again in Portland to the point that they are here, they had major issues with people sneaking items, biohazardous materials like dirty diapers into their blue recycling bins, thus creating a public health safety hazard for those who sort our recycling. So that was another issue that was brought up by one of my neighbors.
All right. Thank you so much. It's good to see you again. And I would like to invite up our representatives from Lawrence and Valley, if you'd like to talk about the proposals, some of the questions and comments you've heard, and give you the opportunity to address the council. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Councilors. We just want to let everybody know here that we genuinely appreciate the opportunity for evaluation of our services. We take a lot of pride at Lawrence Sanitation as well as Valley Recycling in providing, a much needed service for our communities. We feel and we hope that our presentation a couple of weeks ago was informative and that we answered all the questions put forth, and that everyone genuinely has an understanding of the ask. And we feel the justification is warranted, and we respectfully ask tonight that you approve our request. And with me, I think, is a familiar face. Go ahead, Kevin.
I'm Kevin Ginger, and I just work on the numbers side of things, so.
Yeah, Kevin works on the side of Valley. Unfortunately, John, as you all know, John Sullivan, he's off on vacation, trying to enjoy that semi-retirement in Arizona, as well as our other consultant had some obligations with some graduations tonight. So, but appreciate the opportunity, and we welcome the opportunity to ask or answer any questions you may have.
Right. Thank you very much. Questions? Council President Starr?
So, just a few questions. What's the impact if this is not approved? Like, what is that going to look like for our citizens or our residents of Keizer?
Well, I think we'd probably have to reevaluate the franchise agreement, but if I recall correctly, I think if we put forward a request that, you know, warrants justification in terms of the increases, I think there's an obligation, you know, by all of you, hopefully, to seriously consider that. And if not, I assume we would probably have to go back and explore the type of services that we provide. Because at the end of the day, we're local, private, you know, companies that do our best to provide services with a very narrow margin. But, you know, considering what inflation has done over the last couple of years, around 8% and things of that nature, as well as, you know, just as all of you know, with your costs, with insurance and benefits and things of that nature, it would be very challenging for us to continue to provide the levels of service without some level of increase.
Follow-up? Thank you. I have a few. The notice date that we talked about, what notice is this going to give to our residents? Because it's June 3rd now. When does the billing, it's effective July 1st. When's the next billing after that?
Yeah, so there's all different types. Some is billed in advance, some is, you know, just the next month. What our intent was to certainly notify our customers with both companies tomorrow. And the contract states that we need to provide a reasonable amount of time. And we think that, you know, providing 3 weeks notification is, you know, is justifiable. But certainly if there's any concerns from any of our residents that give us a call and have, you know, any issues surrounding that, we'll certainly take care of them appropriately.
So, because I think, and I'm wanting to have a dialogue about, oh, sorry, follow-up? Follow-up. I have many. Wanting to have a dialogue on this because if somebody gets paid monthly, 3 weeks notice doesn't give them a full pay period opportunity to account for that potential increase into their budget. So is there any opportunity for an adjustment of the effective date, just to give people a full, you know, even, you know, 45 days so they have an opportunity? That would be one question. I don't know if that's an option.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly open for discussion in terms of what that effective date would be. Again, I think just, you know, based upon some of our initial discussions with a lot of community members, whether it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I think we're starting, you know, it's right in there, and I think that's ample opportunity. But if, you know, we need to provide another week or two, we're certainly more than happy to do that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So you heard testimony from Mr. Spink about that the way that his neighbor was being billed. Is there opportunity or room to do a bill audit for our residents and say, hey, you know, we're doing a bill audit and we notice that you're getting charged for what did I write down, a $65 or 65 gallon and a 30 gallon, or versus the I can't remember what the example was, but is there opportunity to do that for your customers?
We're more than happy to have discussions surrounding that, but with, you know, over 10,000 customers realistically going through each account profile, that would be quite the undertaking. But certainly if, you know, we're open for discussion, anything that we can do, just like the discount program that we did, you know, for those customers that need some help. But I think the reality of implementing something like that with every single resident would be a little bit of an undertaking, but we're certainly open to
But maybe putting out communication that if you have questions or you want to review your bill and doing kind of a concerted outreach campaign and communication campaign with the customers would be great. I think that might be helpful for people to be able to call and review how they're being charged and if there's any opportunities and ways for them to save.
Yeah, just like a reminder in their bill to say, hey, you know, we're here to help you out. If you have any questions, by the way, did you know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
One more, okay.
Well, maybe one more.
Well,
Maybe one more.
We'll take some turns and we'll circle back.
So regarding your discount program, which again, thank you so much for, to both of the companies for implementing that. And again, using Mr. Spink, the example that he gave in his testimony, is it 60 years old and 60% of the state median, or is there room to evaluate what that looks like? Because to Mr. Spink's example, they're on Social Security, and I know my mom's on Social Security, and it's not 60%. So I'm just curious if, again, there's opportunity to do another outreach, you know, to do more enhanced and robust outreach, because people may not be clear that it's an or if it is an and, maybe we could have conversations about what that looks like so that we're not eliminating certain demographics.
Yeah, absolutely, and I believe, again, and I'm a little bit new, but I believe it was in alignment with the water.
Yeah, we don't actually approve people for the program. They qualify for the program under the City of Keizer's water standards.
So is it and?
Give me a second, I'll look.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Counselor Duran.
So what if the customer does not have a water bill? What if they're on a, they're in a facility where they don't have to qualify for the water? Can they still qualify for the garbage?
Do you know that? Great question. We'll take that as a takeaway.
I'm just wondering if it's a multifamily deal where they don't have a water bill themselves, but they happen to have garbage bill for themselves. So that, I'd be interested in knowing if that's the case, if that could be something that is causing an issue.
We'll take that as a takeaway. Thank you, Counselor.
And then I'm going to go to Counselor Kohler, but I do have one question. So in your presentation a couple of weeks ago, and this is what I asked Mr. Spink as well, the 95 was presented as an option for larger families that will actually save the money, add capacity, garbage will go where garbage is supposed to go, and solve a lot of problems. And as you presented it, and I read your additional materials, I was very encouraged by that. You will be doing outreach on that as well, especially with the families that have been incurring those extra charges, to maybe do some pinging going, you can save money if you do this. Is that the approach that would happen if this moves forward tonight?
Yeah, we would be more than happy to follow up on that.
Okay. Sounds like a winner on both scores, getting the garbage where it's supposed to be, as well as saving people money.
Completely agree, and we're heavily invested into making sure that we do our best to educate the community and try to partner with them appropriately to, keep their waste, at a level that makes sense for each family.
Thank you. Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for coming in and addressing questions. Well, one of the things that I think we're all concerned with is making sure that our residents are able to handle the bills and such that are in front of them, just like you are trying to handle the bills that are in front of you. Having a business myself and looking at expenses, if I had to have no increase in the last 12 months, and then even last 24 months, and then only come and ask for a 3% increase, I think that's commendable. And then the 3% and then the 5% later. If you look at what the inflation and everything has done, that's pretty commendable, and thank you for the work that you're doing to try to help keep things even for our residents and maintain the level of service.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Wood has your answer.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Wood.
Mr. Wood?
Madam Mayor, City Council, to answer Council President Starr's question, it is an and. So it is age 60 and it looks like 30% of the Salem area median income.
So 60 years and?
That is correct.
So can I ask a follow-up question?
Why is it not an or?
That's one. Why is it not an or? But what if somebody's under 60 and on disability?
We matched the program that was already in place with the city of Salem. So that was part of the arrangement last year, or when we implemented this discount program. It was to be consistent with the other areas that our haulers provide to. So we only had one type of program to deal with instead of multiple for them.
So we haven't, so it's, just to make sure, it's 60 years and 30% of the median income. So you have to have both to qualify for a discount. But if you're under 60 and on disability, you don't qualify?
That would be correct.
Okay, I would love to have a deeper conversation because that, to me, I think that just begs to have a deeper conversation on all levels, like our water discount as well as our garbage discount. So that I literally I'm speechless for somebody who asks a lot of questions.
And again, we're more than happy to meet with Adam and, you know, work through those elements and things of that nature.
Okay, so as a follow-up to this conversation, because this is not the scope of the public hearing tonight, but that we would strongly encourage that conversation, especially around issues with households with SSI.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, anything further for our team here? All right, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming and answering questions for us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the public hearing this evening? And is that everybody who was signed up, Ms. Bissett?
That is.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything further before I close the public hearing? Looking? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr, do you want to put a motion on the table for discussion?
Yes, it will be a slightly modified motion than what's in our packet. I move that Keizer City Council adopt the order in the matter of the amendment of rates for franchise solid waste collection within the city of Keizer, effective September 1st, 2024. And then a revisit of the rates prior to the January 1st, 2025 proposed rate increase.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt the order in the matter of the amendment of rates for franchise solid waste collection within the city of Keizer, effective September 1, 2024, and revisit the rates prior to January 1, 2025. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
Okay. Discussion. So I have a question. What does it mean revisit the rates prior to January 1?
Well, if I understood it correctly, we weren't going to have the tipping fees, and there was another fee. I thought we wouldn't know what that increase was, so we wouldn't know if the proposed rate increase on January 1 exactly what that total was going to be until we know what those tipping fees and other rate increases were from the county. Is that correct?
Right, Madam Mayor and Council, it was, yes, 5% on July 1 and 3% on January 1st, 2025, with the disclaimer that they would not know the impact if the Covanta incinerator or the tipping fees for the county changed. So that's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
So would, just to make sure I'm clear, that would those two items need to be brought back to us, or was that included in the original order? And so what we're asking for is we want to see them before they go into effect.
I want to see them, Madam Mayor, before they go into effect. And I think it's kind of, it dovetails into my proposal to make these rates effective November 1st, because I think that there's opportunity.
September.
what did I say?
November,
November, October, okay, September 1st.
September-wary.
Yeah, September, there you go, yeah, that month. September 1st, just because I think there's an opportunity, number one, to have that conversation about the discount program and what that looks like in totality. The other one is, I think it gives our residents an opportunity to call their waste hauler and review their bill. And, if they have concerns about if they have a 65-gallon and a 35-gallon, what would that look like to move to the 95-gallon or 230? I mean, it gives them 3 months to make those changes. And it also, I think, gives an opportunity to do some gives them ample notice of the rate increase, as well as just educating the public about the discount program. And I am 1,000% in support of. They do a lot of great work that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, and a lot of things are coming down the pike in terms of costs for our waste haulers. But I also think we owe it to our residents to have a longer period of awareness and outreach and education so they can budget for it, because it's a pretty significant increase in their budgets. So that's my reasoning.
Okay.
Madam Mayor.
I'm going to go to Mr. Lindsay, and I'll go to Councilor Reed.
Okay, sorry, and I don't mean to be a part of your deliberations. I just wanted to be, as a practical matter, if we're setting over, and we can amend this order, especially if you're setting it over till September 1st, because you just have to sign it, but we can redraft it with the amendments if September 1 is the way in which it's going to go. But what I would suggest is then not even having the January date in there, or saying come in on September, because we have to post hearings and do all of that in order to change the rates. And so if we don't know the answer, we should get on it. If we're gonna get to January 1st, September is probably the time in which we would want to start revisiting that January change. So I just wanted to put that out there for practicality's sake.
Which was part of my question, was that this was, as I understood it, in the order, but it had the flexibility, if you will, if Marion County all of a sudden decides that they're going to raise the rates and play catch-up or something like that, that would really stick it to pretty much every single ratepayer in Marion County.
Yeah, and my understanding of that, because this, in the order that doesn't, it just establishes the 5% and then the 3% on those dates. And so I believe, if my memory was, that perhaps they might even have to come back and ask you to reconsider even more if it was catastrophic. I think that's how it went. But I think what we had before you today was raising at 5% on July 1st and then 3% on January 1st.
So the additional, the things we didn't know, Covanta, and if Marion County was going to all of a sudden take a huge leap, those would trigger coming back anyway under the original. So the.
Can I make a friendly amendment to my own amendment?
I would.
Friendly with my own amendment?
If it's the direction I think it's going, I think it'd be a very friendly thing to do.
So I move that Keizer City Council adopt the order in the matter of the amendment of rates for franchise solid waste collection within the city of Keizer effective September 1st and January 1st, 2025.
So that would be the new motion. Does the seconder?
Yes.
Okay, the seconder accepts the change in motion, so it's essentially a substitute. Now, thank you for your patience, Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I understand and appreciate all of Council President Starr's concerns, and I just wanted to find out what that difference in 2 months would mean to the waste haulers. Is that going to be problematic for your budget, and would that affect service? So if I could hear from them on that, I would appreciate
kind of in the deliberation, we've closed the public hearing.
Oh.
So we're kind of stuck. I'm looking at our city attorney going.
It's true. You can, if they want to be heard in an official fashion, you could reopen the public hearing. If you just want to take consideration from somebody who's in the room, you can as well.
I would like to take consideration from somebody in the room who actually knows the answer to the question. So if I can, thank you for giving me the proper language, so come on up. Yeah, yes, please, because that way the people who are listening via television will be able to hear you. So thank you, appreciate that.
Want me to talk?
Sounds like the numbers guy.
Well, I'll kind of set the table for it. So it's kind of a catch-up game, right, that we're playing. So we didn't have an increase for the last year and a half, so we came in, we're trying to make up for that, given, you know, again, the inflationary challenges that we are facing.
Can you pull the microphone a little closer to you? Thank you.
Did you hear that last comment?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So it's a precarious position that we're in, right? Because we asked for the 5% now to help carry and get our business in alignment with the increase, with the, again, the inflationary measures that has transpired over the last 18 months. And we kind of already reviewed all of the costs. You've already seen all of that information in your packet. So to wait an additional, 60 days, we can certainly do that. But what would probably happen is then that increase would just be significantly more. Well, I shouldn't say significantly more, but it'll be more on the second increase. So we're kind of kicking the can down the road, right? So we can certainly do that, but we're trying to get better alignment with what's happening in the market as well as what's going on with our business and trying to provide increases that we feel that are reasonable for our residents. I mean, a 5% is, in most cases, is less than $2 a month for most of our residents. So we felt like the increase was warranted and that the time was appropriate, but we certainly want to be respectful of all of you, and we'll do whatever you would like. But I think the reality is then it'll just be more of an increase on that second one next year. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Kevin?
Well, I think the way it's set up at this point, it wouldn't change the January increase, but I mean, basically, yes, it kind of kicks the can down the road. So I don't know the exact number of 2 months delay, from the original request to, what that impact would be on the bottom line. But whenever we would come to look, I guess, at the end of the year, we would look, every year we look, but whenever our next request comes in, it would just take into account, where we are at that point in time, the same way we've done each year.
So I've got a follow-up question on that. If this gets delayed to November 1st, when would the 95?
September.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now you got me doing it. It's September. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've done your job. And, but the 95 gallon cart, that's going to be really important for a lot of people as soon as possible to get that switched over. But if we haven't implemented that, it can't go into effect.
Correct. Yeah, kind of all is in alignment.
That's all in the same package, isn't it?
Correct, yeah.
And that needs to happen yesterday, based on what I understood, especially for some of our larger households. Okay. Thank you, that was helpful. Anything else before we,
Yeah, because you have to
Let's go.
remember too, that every time we communicate to our customer,
Microphone.
every time we communicate to our customers, it is a cost to the business.
Right.
So it's better if we have one communication to all of our customers saying, kind of here's what's transpiring. And so to your point, Madam Mayor, it's better if it's all handled at one time and avoids confusion. Like, you're doing a cart now, but the increase isn't until 2 months. So it's better if those are all from a timing perspective together.
okay. And the 95s are ready to go?
Within the next 30 days. Pretty
So
close.
you have them, because you didn't have them before.
We're waiting to hear whether it's approved so that we can order extra 95.
Yeah, we have orders ready to go. We have a few carts, but nothing significantly that we feel comfortable rolling out,
So to speak.
so to speak.
Boom. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Councilor Kolar has a question for you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If we did a compromise where we did August 1st instead of September 1st, would that make a huge difference for you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, the sooner the better, and then, that we can move forward with that, because like Kevin alluded to, at the end of every year, we look at, you know, what the costs have been and what our increases have been and what, you know, where that margin is at and things of that nature. So, yeah, all of our planning and capital investments and everything else put forth, you know, we're hoping certainly for a July 1 increase, but yeah, I mean, I think August would certainly be more reasonable and palatable for us.
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just as a follow-up, the ability for a customer to look at their options with enough time to let you know what changes they would like to make, I would think would be really beneficial for them.
Yep.
And you would also then know how many carts you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be very popular. All right, anything else? Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just going to float a friendly amendment there to
Hang on.
amend for.
I'm going to let these guys go then.
Okay, yes. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Don't go far. Because I might have another question for somebody in the room.
For September.
Yeah.
Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just going to float a friendly amendment there to amend that to August 1st.
Does the mover accept?
Yes.
Does the second accept?
I do.
All right, the motion is amended to August 1. Anything further?
I would just ask that that we really look at the 60 years and income requirement. That took me by surprise, so I'd like to see that addressed.
We're getting the head nod that this conversation will occur. All right. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Husman.
And one abstention.
Oh, and one abstention, Councilor Cross. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. All right. That concludes our public hearings for this evening. Maybe I should look at the right agenda because that's where my notes are. Put it away. There we go. And take us to administrative action. And the first item is 8A, which is the mayoral appointment to the Wastewater Task Force. And Mr. Brown, did you want to introduce that or should I just make the appointment?
Well, I guess for the viewing public's benefit, I'll just give you the short Reader's Digest version. We have had, the city of Keizer gets a seat at the table because we are a large customer of the Salem wastewater treatment facility. And that seat has been occupied by Mr. Wood by appointment since 2016. And we wanted to make sure that the elected body understands that they can make a seat at that table. So that's why it's before you again.
All right. Thank you very much. And Mr. Wood has also been representing the city. So I spoke with Councilor Kohler, who's willing to be our representative, and Mr. Wood is willing to be the alternate in case life is busy and, you know, work happens. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's 6 meetings that they're going to do, about an hour each, between June and September. We don't have a date, so it's pretty hard for me to commit to a date that I don't know what it is. So as long as I can go, that would be great.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate Mr. Wood being willing to be the alternate as well. All right. Thank you very much. That takes us then to, here we go, the Keizer Rapids Park Amphitheater Summer Concert Series. Back by popular demand in its new form. Mr. Brown, shall we just kick it off with Mr. Dial?
Let it roll.
Rock and roll.
Madam Mayor, City Council, and residents of Keizer, thank you again for letting me join here tonight. Valor Mentoring is partnering with Uptown Music and Keizer Chamber to bring back the concert series. July 20th, 27th, August 3rd, 17th, 24th, and 31st, with the absence of Keizer Fest, which will be a whole lot of more activities in that area. We will have food carts as well as Sanam Brewing providing drinks. We'll also have coffee and smoothies. The groups that will be premiering there will be Rhythm and Business, which is Oregon's premier funk and soul band, Rich McLeod, which is Caribbean soul, Wild Ire, which is progressive pop, JFK, classics, 70s, 80s, 90s rock, and Johnny Wheels, which is blues, the last one, Nash Brothers, which is country. Looking forward to a great summer in the park with the city of Keizer.
Fantastic. Mr. Brown, you've been working hard with Mr. Dial on this. Anything you'd like to add?
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I can't say that, claim any credit for this. Actually, this is really Valor Mentoring, Chamber of Commerce, and Uptown Music. They have invited me to some of their meetings to be in the loop, and I think I share the community's excitement about being able to host these. They have committed to all the items that we would normally ask of the summer concert series, such as insurance, chemical toilets, garbage, alcoholic beverage service, security and food, and we're requesting the fee waiver, as has been done with previous organizers of the summer concert series. So with much thanks, staff recommends that the council approve this partnership between Valor Mentoring, Uptown Music, and Keizer Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report or for Mr. Dial? Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you tell me, I know you're looking for the fee waivers on here, how much money do you have to raise in sponsorships in order to make these concerts successful?
I have no idea.
Well, is there anybody in the audience that might know the answer to this question?
I do believe there's someone here who can answer the question.
You're gonna regret that you ever gave us that word, Mr. Lindsay.
Consideration.
My name's Corey. I'm Keizer Chamber Executive Director, and I live in Keizer. And typically, we try to get about 3,500 to 5,000, depending on how many folks are in the band. And if we strike any deals about the bands making donation to any sort of organization that the Keizer Chamber supports as a member.
And what does that cover?
That will cover the payment for the band, the toilets, and in the past, we've had an agreement with Lawrence Sanitation, and they donate garbage services for us. And typically, we haven't asked, I can only speak for the concerts that I've put on. We haven't asked for any money from the food cart or the food trucks or any sort of services provided, but we have this year asked for $100 per truck and each concert from Sanam Brewing to help kind of meet those funds halfway, so we're not kind of scrambling to raise the entire.
So with that $3,500, is that like flat, or is the chamber able to make a little bit of money?
The chamber does not intend to make any money off of this.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering if you have done any outreach to the West Keizer Neighborhood Association on this. I know that they've been important partners in the past, and this is in their neighborhood. So I just wanted to know if, and if not, I will talk to them this week.
I did. Thank you, Councilor Reed. I did speak with Rhonda Rich when she came into the office, and from her perspective, she was very excited that this is happening. Of course, she asked if we were going to be following all the ordinances and making sure that the sound is done at 9 p.m. And of course we will. But from my conversations and gathering from Rhonda Rich, she was pretty excited about it.
Well, thank
and
you.
I'm happy to go and have a chat with them.
I know you usually do. I just wanted to kind of hit that nail to make sure that connection was made. And I, again, appreciate that you usually do. So thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right, Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Do you have any sponsors for any of these 4 concerts yet?
We do, so kind of the way this is working is I planned the July 20th and the August 17th. And Uptown and Valor have planned everything in between aside from Keizer Fest because, you know, I might have something to do with that. So I have sponsor for everything for the JFK concert in August. And I'm still in contact with some of the folks I've reached out to for the Rhythm and Business. And I know that they have also worked on sponsors. I'm just not sure who they've asked.
So July 27th and August 3rd would be Valor Mentoring in Uptown?
Yes.
Thank you.
What about August 24th and August 31st?
Those are also Valor and Uptown.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As Councilor Reed asked about neighborhood associations, I've been in contact with a couple of them, or they've called me and said, hey, when are we going to do this? We can't wait. And they have expressed a lot of excitement about that. So I appreciate their willingness to listen to some things, even if they may not like that particular music that week.
It's all wonderful.
But just a point of clarification, Mr. Wood, there was a question if the former organizer of this event actually had all their funds waived, and so I didn't know that for sure. But there was a mention that we did we waive all their fees last time to do that?
I believe that we waived everything except for the application fee. And that was a $63 one-time fee, so I don't think that we waived that one, but everything else, yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
All right. Any further questions aside from everybody's marking their calendar? All right, thank you so much. Council President Starr, do you want to put a motion on the table?
I do. I move that the Keizer City Council approve the partnership of Valor Mentoring, Uptown Music, and the Keizer Chamber of Commerce to plan and carry out the summer concert series, and that this Keizer City Council approve the waiver of fees in the amount of $2,123 for the amphitheater.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council approve the partnership of Valor Mentoring, Uptown Music, and the Keizer Chamber of Commerce to plan and carry out the summer concert series, and that the City Council approve the waiver of fees in the amount of $2,123 for the amphitheater. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. Councilor Hessman, be there or be square. Looking forward to it. All right, consent calendar, Council President Starr.
Our consent calendar for tonight contains 3 items. Item A, resolution authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with K&E Paving, doing business as H&H Paving, for the 2024 pavement resurfacing. Item B, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Kelly Create for email migration services. And item C, approval of the May 20th, 2024 regular session minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls? Don't see any. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt the consent calendar as read.
Second.
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. No objection. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. That's Hessman. Other business this time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. And I believe we have 2 items. Mr. Wood, Mr. Brown? Did you have anything?
Mr. Wood has an item.
Mr. Wood?
Yep.
Madam Mayor, City Council, I did send out an email to you folks about 4-ish today. I do apologize for the lateness in that. Just want to start off and say I apologize to the council and also to the Keizer Community Library. They had made a fee request waiver at the end of April. And unfortunately, it kind of fell through the cracks within my department, so I apologize. They were very timely in getting that request to us. We just didn't get it into the agenda for any of the May meetings. Time is of the essence for them as their first meeting is, or their first get-together is June 26th. They would like to have some time to advertise their event so they can draw a crowd in. So they're basically doing 4 reading series programs between June and August, basically every other week type of thing, 2.5 hours. They're requesting to use one of our Iris rooms, which is one of the medium-sized rooms to fit in, 100 to 150 people, hopefully more. The total waiver request is for $936.50, I believe. And that would cover the 4 meetings. They would be on the hook for the $750 refundable deposit, though, as that would be our typical policy. And again, I do apologize to the community library and also to you, council, for the late notice of this request. And with that, I'd be willing to address any questions.
Any questions? Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is the, specifically for the Princess Storytime, is that enough space considering I think they had that many last year?
That's one of the reasons I really appreciate the movable walls that we have.
Okay.
If push comes to shove, we'll push the walls.
Okay, so we have it available. They're just,
Correct.
right now, they've just reserved that one.
Correct. That's what they anticipate needing, but if it goes bigger, then we'll accommodate.
Great, thank you. And the inventory of the reptiles.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And
Slithery things.
if there's
to be
spiders,
exempt.
I am completely out.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know. I'll come play with them. So I entertain a motion to suspend the rules to take up the matter of the Keizer Community Library waiver of fees.
So moved.
Second?
It's moved and seconded to suspend the rules to take up the matter. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Council President Starr, do you want to take care of the motion?
Sure. I move that the Keizer City Council waive the room use fees in the amount of $937.50 for the dates of June 26, 2024, July 10th, 2024, July 24th, and August 21st, 2024.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council waive the fees for the Keizer Community Library for a total of $937.50 for events on June 26th, July 10, July 24, and August 21st of 2024. Any further discussion? Councilor Kohler.
Just a real quick thing, Mr. Wood, I can't believe that you didn't have plenty of time during that time period to take care of that. So if that's the only thing that you missed during all your budget stuff, I think you should be commended.
Mr. Wood.
Councilor Kohler, Madam Mayor, City Council, I do refer to that as budget brain. But some things just happened during that time period and I'm at a loss. So again, I do apologize, especially to the Keizer Community Library, as this is an important event for them and for the community.
All right, thank you. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. With one absent, that's Hussman. The other item for other business tonight is the chamber asked that we have representatives of the city work with the chamber board and the executive director to talk about policies and process between the two organizations, and then that would lead into possible development of budget request. And so with that, I'd like a motion to suspend the rules to take up the matter to make that appointment.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules, take up the matter of the chamber ask. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. The folks I would ask to engage in this conversation would be myself, Councilor Duran, and Councilor Cross. Councilor Duran and Councilor Cross, are you willing to be part of this conversation?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. And then if we need staff participation at some point, Mr. Brown, you or a designee would bring people as needed. Okay, thank you very much. So that will be the appointments for, to start these conversations. And thank you for asking us to engage in this process. Appreciate it. Are there any other items of other business this evening? Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to put it out there. I know that our work session agenda is pretty compact and, you know, you've kind of gone out there a little way, and I know that you set that work agenda. But if, I know that we're having a second work session on procurement, I would love to, at some point, to see something on our youth peer court and how that affects our community. I've been noticing that they're looking for volunteers, and with some of the troubled youth and the graffiti and how that can positively impact. And just looking at that $27,000 number, I would love to hear from Chief Copeland and even maybe the people that help run it every Thursday.
So, funny that, I have on my notes here, request a presentation on Pure Court. So it doesn't, we could either do a work session, or we can ask them to do a special order of business, at the beginning of a meeting, and have them come do a presentation on what Pure Court is and what they're doing as part of a regular city council agenda. What do you think?
I think that either one works. I think a work session goes well. It's just one of those things that happens in our community, and then maybe we kind of forget about it. But if we're putting it out there, I mean, it's ages 11 to 18 that can act as judge and jury, and, you know, so just helping with that whole process and giving second chances. And I don't know if even Chief Copeland has anything to say, good or bad or indifferent on that.
I don't tonight, but I will in the future.
All right, Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I concur. I know I've asked several times for updates on Pure Court and some of the data points in the past. I think it's really important for our community to have an opportunity to hear what that is and how it's carried out. In fact, just tonight, before the meeting, I was at McNary. They were wrapping up their youth golf tournament, or the McNary golf tournament that CTEC coordinated. And somebody commented to me and asked me a question and made a statement about the graffiti problem and the youth and what happens to them, and et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that while I know that procurement is an important part of what our responsibilities are, I do think in light of kind of the high level and concern that we're hearing from the community about graffiti, and, you know, is it being committed by youth, and what happens to them? I hear they go to Pure Court for a first offense, but I don't really know the answer. So I can't answer any of our residents when they ask about it. And I think it's a timely, urgent issue that people would like to have a community conversation about. So I would like to see us move that up in the schedule rather than put it off to the end of the year.
So what I'm hearing is, let's see, July 8th is a work session. I know we've got a topic, hang on. So I'm looking at July 29th because we have 5 Mondays.
Is there a reason why we couldn't swap the procurement policy for a work session and a conversation on Pure Court?
Well, this is the procurement's the council goal that is moving toward completion by the end of the year, as per conversations that we've had around our staff finishing those. And it also impacts a lot of staff time that we need to get this clarified and done. As far as our scheduling goes, yeah, we could do July 8th. We had talked about restarting the conversation about urban growth boundary and the cost of growth, but that can be put off, and we could schedule that for July 8th. What do you think about that? And then we could look further into the year for the UGB issue. Mr. Brown?
Yeah, in my concern, Madam Mayor and Council, is giving, it's only 1 week away is the next work session on the, so my concern is that they would have enough time to put it into their schedule. So the July 8th is probably a good solution.
Okay, July 8th. So if you could reach out to them, it's concurrence of council that we have that be our topic for July 8th. No objection here. Okay. Fantastic. And then we're getting into agenda, but that's okay. Conversation is conversation. We do need to start looking at, this is one of our council goals, kind of go back over the various studies we've done, UGB, cost of growth, et cetera. A lot of these studies got done, got put on, kind of on the shelf because this COVID thing kind of happened. And then our economy has been variable recently. So we need to come back and circle back on that. So is that something we want to tackle this summer or put it off till later? Because this is, again, one of our council goals. So some input from you all on when you want to start diving into those issues around UGB. Get her done. Well, we got to go back over the cost of growth, the transportation cost, and then we have to determine how we're going to, consult with the community. Our community is very divided on this issue, and so we're going to have to really work on our public engagement to make sure that we are hearing what people have to say and what the concerns are around the UGB. So we could start that this summer. September is our joint work session with the Parks Board. That's our annual Parks Tour. I was trying to keep August not scheduled, but if you want to start diving into it, then we can. Input? Anybody? Council President Starr?
So on the UGB topic, I feel like there's so many different components to it that kind of build on one another, and that probably if we were to do kind of a like one in August and one in October and one in November, we're gonna lose kind of the continuity of the different conversations and the subject matter. So I think maybe it might be helpful, at least for me, for staff to come back and, or maybe spend time talking about what would make sense for staff, and an order in which the UGB conversations would go, and maybe look at planning them out the last quarter of the year, rather than just kind of wherever they fit in, but so they're the continuity of the conversations, they can build on each other, and we don't have to spend, a third of our work session time refreshing our memory from 3 months before and the last conversation. So kind of build that as schedule. So if maybe that might be something that staff could come back with a proposed work session schedule for the last quarter. Makes sense to, and how my mind works, but.
I'm looking at Mr. Brown getting a head nod from him, and this also feeds into some of the planning that was done earlier this year.
Yeah, that actually resonates with me as a good solution to start and keep it going. And with a little bit of heads up, that helps us to plan for it.
Okay, sounds like a good plan. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Could we do that at the start of a council meeting so that we don't have to have a whole nother, if we just put a plan together and schedule things, could we do that at the start of one of our council meetings rather than do a whole work session on it?
On what?
On putting a plan together for the UGB discussions, a schedule.
This is going to be complicated.
Well, if we're just doing a plan, saying these are the things we're gonna talk about, I don't think that's an hour-long discussion.
No, So, Mr. Brown will bring a proposed series, as per, Council President Starr's suggestion, that we could look at, the studies, community outreach, the different components, and then start to slot that in.
Right.
And bring a proposal for our consideration.
Right.
Yeah, at council. So July 8 will be Pier Court. August, I'm gonna try to hold that open unless we get a topic that we absolutely need to discuss. We're trying to have summer, and September will be our joint work session with Parks. There was discussion, since we jumped ahead to agenda input anyway, at budget and, earlier this year, also when our long-range planning task force met, we had twice as many meetings this year as they have in previous years with 2. And there's been a request for a mid-year meeting with the long-range planning task force, into the fall, kind of after the start of the fiscal year, kind of a check-in before we go into the meeting, that's generally in February. So we talked about possibly doing it in November. However, the second Monday in November is Veterans Day. So we'll have to, like to put a pin in that one, so we could think about whether we would try to schedule that on Tuesday, the 12th of November. But I want to give a heads up to the Long Range Plan Task Force that we'll be looking at an additional meeting. It wasn't what they signed up for, but I think it's what they want. And I know that, it really resonated with the group when I've talked with people about that. So we'll add that as well. All right. Shall we go ahead and jump back to staff updates? Anything else on other business? Let's go to staff updates. Mr. Brown? You got some good news.
I got some, a couple of good news. First of all, Congresswoman Salinas, our request for what we call phase 3 of the congressional, or of the artificial turf project. We are one of the 15 projects that's included in her congressional funding request. And I appreciate Councilor Cross helping me, or Starr helping me with that application, being my second eyes on it. And so that's good news. We will carefully watch the Congress through the end of the summer and fall. To hopefully we can get that. And also we received notification from Oregon Parks and Recreation Department that we're able to move forward with phase 2, which is the presentation to the selection committee for phase 2 of the turf fields. So if the stars align, it's possible that we could actually be able to bid both these phases together if we're successful in getting both of those.
Very good news. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Brown and Council President Starr, for the hard work on those grant applications to make this possible. Mr. Wood?
Nothing additional for me, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bissett?
Great. The general election for mayor and 3 council positions will be on November 5th, and the first day to file is this Wednesday, June 5th. So please contact me if you have any questions or are ready to file.
Okay. Chief?
I have nothing to add tonight. I'm sorry. It was fun, though. It was a great council meeting. Lots of laughs tonight, more than usual.
Okay. Well, remember that for us, September-wary. Yes. Mr. Lawyer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Couple things. Start off with an exciting day for Public Works. June 18th is the Public Works Fair at Keizer Rapids Park from 10 to 2. And also by coincidence, it's also the first Trashy Tuesday. So that'll be at Palma Mesa and Sunset Parks. And then the Trashy Tuesdays for the rest of the summer are July 16th, August 20th, September 17th, and October 1st. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And signups are on the website. Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I attended my daughter's high school graduation yesterday at Lincoln High School, so very proud of her. And then my stepdaughter is graduating from Canby this Friday, so I share the sentiment of everybody who was congratulating our youth counselor Woodard, as well as several of you who work and know folks who are graduating. So, and then Adam Brown has graciously offered the ability for me to go on a training for Leading Edge, which is part of his high performance organization training that fits right in with being part of his ELT. And that's in late July. It's for a week. So I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to reflect on that, and you could comment back to me if you want on whether or not that is something that you would want me to do, because this is special. This is different from just the pure legal stuff. And so I wanted to come to you guys and ask you. So reflect on that. What I'll do is I'll reach out with an email. I will say don't reply all, but I will have each one of you then give you a little heads up on this training and what it means, and I can try to answer questions with it.
All right.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you very much. Let's then go to council member reports. Start with Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's see, since last city council meeting, I went to the YMCA annual board meeting. It's always great to see all, hear the numbers of everything they're doing there. Attended the meeting with the Marion County Commissioners with 3 or 4 of you. Attended the Salem Area Lodging Association meeting where it was nice to give them an update on what's going on with the fields, because we usually talk about what's going on with sports and, what the impact is having with the different hotel rooms. I attended Uncorked Live at Bryn Mawr this past weekend, and, they do great things for the families in Marion and Polk counties. They serve over 850 families and 1,300 children every year. So that's great. And then I am going to put a shout out here to our friend Tammy, because she is going to have an all neighborhood community meeting tomorrow here at the Civic Center from 6 to 8:30 p.m. So I know that I've seen her flyer posted around. So she's just doing such a great job. So I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. And I would encourage everybody to look on social media, get all the details for that community meeting tomorrow. Thank you for that shout out. Councilor Duran.
Well, the only thing that I have that is different than most people is I went to the CFEC, the scenario planning open house on Wednesday, the 29th, with a few people that I saw there from Keizer. It looks like we had a good showing of Keizer citizens at that event, which was nice to see. The scenario planning is something that we've been working on with the City of Salem and Marion County and a couple of the other smaller towns. And it was a good event, and that was about all I had going on.
All right, thank you very much. Council President Starr.
May 22nd, I was a city night at the at the Volcano Stadium and that baseball game, and I threw out another first pitch. And then I covered the chamber board meeting for Councilor Cross when she was at somewhere YMCA annual meeting. So I covered the chamber board meeting for her. So familiar with their budget.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the fundraiser Shop with a Cop at the Brothers Collection. They raised a whole bunch of money for you, and I hope that's going to be something really helpful. What a great event that they sponsor every year, and can't say enough about the Brothers Collection and what they do. Keizer Community Dinner was on the 22nd. We fed about 240 people. A lot of fun for all there. I attended the Marion Polk Food Bank Appreciation Lunch. April was their highest ever number of visits to local pantries. 19,000 different visits, which is much higher. Pre-COVID-19 was about 10,000, be an annual or a monthly thing, and during COVID-19, 14,000 was about average, so 19,000 is huge. One of the things they mentioned was the community support and the people that are willing to help things move forward and with donations and with services and such to help take care of those 19,000 people is greatly appreciated on their part. I think the way they put it that most of the 18,000 visits or the 19,000 visits had to do with pocketbook pressures, and most of the visitors are working. And the community support is higher than ever, and they appreciate that. They distribute 10 million pounds of food to 100 local food banks a month. So that's just huge. So, and in addition to that, 1,100 Meals on Wheels a day. So it was just an amazing thing. I attended the Keizer United Board meeting this morning. They're going to help several neighborhoods with their neighborhood night out, and they voted to dissolve their nonprofit status and come under Salem Leadership Foundation umbrella. And had a great time with a whole bunch of my sons and son-in-laws this last weekend. It was a great thing. Everybody should go do that with all their family. We just kind of went out and went fishing, a terrible thing to do. Took advantage of the free fishing weekend, and I have a grandson that graduates this week, so pretty cool.
Ouch. Congratulations.
Not the first grandkid that graduates, so that's good.
Awesome. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had not only a Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency board meeting, but also a board training this month. And just really excited to learn more about that organization. It's one of the largest nonprofits in the state, and not only are they involved with dealing with poverty, but they're also involved in preventing poverty, particularly with the Head Start program. And it's just they do so many great things in our area, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. We are having some turnover on the board, and so if somebody is passionate about alleviating this kind of suffering in our community, I would invite you to visit their website and apply to be on the board. There's a whole lot of final concerts in town. There was the orchestra one last weekend, last Thursday? Thursday. The band one was Friday, the choir one's tomorrow. We have a elementary school orchestra concert Wednesday. So lots of final concerts and plenty of exciting things to get to. In addition, the Keizer Community Band concert was quite spectacular. They always do. I love those, and I'm so glad that we get to hear them several times a year. So that was fantastic. Congratulations to all our Keizer graduates, not only from McNary, but from our private schools, our home schools. It's a huge accomplishment. It's a celebratory time of year, and we're just really excited for all of them to go to the next level and get involved in the community. So that's fantastic. Soggy Day in the Park was on the 25th. Huge thanks to Matt Lawyer and our own Dan Kohler for doing a tremendous amount of work to make that happen. That was done with the Claggett Creek Watershed Council, and they were a bit shorthanded, and so Matt and Dan took on a lot of extra work to make that happen. It was great fun.
And it didn't rain.
And it didn't rain. It was not soggy, and the tacos and the ice cream were fantastic, and everybody really had a good time that went, so thank you very much. We had an Arts Commission meeting. It's kind of a busy time for Arts Commission, so you heard Lori Christopher's report today, and our meeting in a week or so is to purchase the art, which is lots of fun. So that will be coming up. For the Keizer Heritage Foundation, we have hired an intern for next year. Traditionally, at the Keizer Heritage Foundation, we've given a scholarship, And it's just sort of a drop in the bucket of educational costs. And working with Kim Connolly at the College and Career Center, she suggested that it would be more valuable to provide an internship, and it's a paid internship, which amounts to about the same as the scholarship, but it gives professional opportunity, gives kids an opportunity to work with 4 different nonprofits and to be able to be involved in the community that way. And we are really excited for our intern next year, and that will be Millie Sanders. And so that will be an exciting new program. City Dance Theater has a concert on June 15th at McNary, and Keizer Homegrown Theater will be opening Lifespan of a Fact starting June 14th and going through the weekend of June 28th. So tickets are online for that, and it will be, no doubt, another fantastic show.
Looking forward to it. All right, thank you very much. Just wrap up a couple of things. Let's see, went to the CFEC Climate Friendly Equitable Communities Scenario Planning Open House as well. Yeah, Keizer showed up. We proportionally, we did really well in having people there and engaging in the conversation, trying to find out what the scenario planning is all about. And stay tuned on that. We want to keep everybody involved. The League of Oregon Cities Community and Economic Development Policy Committee had a meeting on the 23rd, and we will be wrapping things up on the 6th. So we will have items that are coming forward to the members, which will include the city of Keizer, to designate our top priorities going into the 2025 legislative session. So we've got some really good work that's gone into that. Errol Nelson, who led the charge for the housing policies and really looked out for cities, has been the staff person and really leading this work and helping us understand how housing, how some of the initiatives, especially with Oregon Housing and Community Services, really needs to integrate into the work of cities so housing can get built within our communities. Also, this Thursday is going to be the first rail advisory group that will be hosted by the Council of Governments. The funding for the West Extension Advisory Group did not go through at the legislature. Thank you to Representative Mannix for trying. In the meantime, the Council of Governments isn't just waiting, so a work group has been put together. I sent that information out to Council, and the one who is really interested in helping us with this is a ringer, and that is Rick Keene. So he's been on our traffic safety bike ped, but professionally, he worked with ODOT Rail. So he's going to be working with me on that to make sure that our voice is heard at the table and that we understand what this could mean for the community of Keizer, is it feasible, and what the parameters are. So he's agreed to help out with that. Also coming up is the Oregon Transportation Commission will be meeting in Salem on the 12th, so I'll have an opportunity to talk with them about some of the projects that are going to affect the economy here in the Mid-Willamette Valley. And lastly, but not least, in social media, one of our partner agencies, the Marion Soil and Water Conservation District, is having an informational meeting for folks in Marion County who would like to be considered for serving on that board. It is a separate taxing agency. It's actually a pretty significant one. It's just one of those ones you don't hear a whole lot about, but the work that they're doing is really important for our local agricultural community. So we'll leave that there. And we have already gone through a lot of agenda input. So our next work session is next Monday night at 6 p.m. We'll talk about the procurement policy. On the 17th, we'll meet at 7 p.m. in regular session. And then July 1st at 7 p.m. in regular session. And then we have now determined that on July 8th, our work session will be Pure Court. Anything else for the good of the order? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had a number of citizens talk to me recently about the cloudiness of the water, and I thought I'd give Mr. Lawyer an opportunity to address that.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Councilor Kohler. I'm going to assume that these comments are coming from the northern portion of the city.
Meadows area.
Meadows area. Mm-hmm. That's coming from our Meadows well site. We're still working through the operational issues with the filter plant, trying to dial back the air that's being injected to be not a catalyst, but an oxidant for the filter media to filter out the minerals that we're trying the filter plants to take out. Instead of air, we could use a chemical. We don't want to use chemicals if we don't have to. The downside of the air is it takes a bit to dial it in to get the right amount of air to do its job, but not too much air that goes to the houses. We're still working through it. Water comes out cloudy, looks like it's foamy, if you will. It's only air. Put it in a glass, watch it, the air will dissipate, goes away. It's not harmful. It's annoying, if anything, but it's perfectly safe.
Thank you, Mr. Lawyer. That's kind of what I told people, but letting you tell them is a lot better than me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you all. The time is 10:02 and we are adjourned.